Let's move back to the Big Ten territory here. One more that I'm curious. We might be a little divided here, maybe not.
Yeah, I think so.
The Hoosiers. Indiana tonight with I think it ended up being a 16-point win without looking at the box score itself against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. No Hood Schifino tonight, but some guys were making shots. Miller Kopp was making shots. Trey Galloway was making shots. Trace Jackson Davis nearly had a triple-double tonight. And this is a team.
He did have a triple-double.
I was going to say not nearly. He had
Did he finish with the triple-double? I thought he missed it by a rebound. Did they give him a rebound?
Yeah.
They're playing in Bloomington, Greg. Of course
that's on me. That's on me. I got to know Bloomington better than that. You're right, Laval. Well, congrats, TJD. Triple-double.
The third in program history. You think about that now. Like Isaiah Thomas, played there. You think all the players that came through Indiana, the third in program history. That's impressive.
Had I known that, I would have cheers to you, Trace Jackson Davis. That's on me. I flipped the channel away to watch the end of this pick game. That's the last time I'll ever do that. Laval, let's throw it to you here then, though. National title contender or pretender, the Hoosiers?
I at this point, and when I look at their ceiling, I say pretender. Not that they're not good and they're going to challenge for a Big Ten championship. Again, firepower. Like if you talk about when they went to Rutgers and Trace Jackson Davis doesn't have a Trace Jackson Davis typical night, where else is it going to come from? I think he had 4 turnovers in that one, and so did Xavier Johnson, who's been playing tremendous basketball. He had 6 turnovers in that one. Now Miller Kopp hit 5 threes, but their lack of shooting, consistent shooting, they nailed them tonight. I think they hit 11 or 12 threes. Tamar Bates got going. Trey Galloway made them tonight, but consistent shooting, and they're only hitting 6 a game. And they're not monsters on the glass like we talked about UConn and Houston. They're only getting 9 a game. So if you can find a strategy to stop Trace or contain Trace, then the firepower around that. How's that go? Now Hood Schifino's maybe an X factor, because when North Carolina came in there, he dropped the first 8 points. It was like, this kid, can he consistently bring that to the table? So that they can make the deep run. Their defense is phenomenal this year. I just don't, do they have firepower? And then down the stretch, who's got the ball in their hands to make the play?
Pat, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, and to your point, Xavier Johnson, 6 turnovers last game, 7 turnovers today, in a loss. Man, TJD is outstanding. He's sensational. He has such a feel for the game. It was 1 rebound he just snatched with one hand.
Do you see that?
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, I can't do that. And I got big hands, but not big enough to palm the ball. You look back at that Rutgers game and the productivity, you had 0. You had a goose egg from Trey Galloway. You had 2 from Bates that came off today that had 19 off the bench. And then obviously Galloway had 20 today. Where's the consistency? Miller Kopp has been great in these last few games. He finds a shot, he gets to the basket. You think he's only going to be a shooter, but he finds a way to get to the basket. I just don't see. I can see them being maybe a Sweet 16 team. I think that might be my ceiling for Indiana, but I definitely don't see them as a national championship contender. Trace Jackson Davis is one of those guys you want to see in the tournament and cheer for and hope he can make a big run, and he possibly can. And if the guy he can pass it, he can finish, he can push it, he can protect the basket. But will that be enough? Because it's going to come down, you get to the tournament, usually it always comes down to the guards. Is there enough guard play if he gets into foul trouble or is limited to help them win a game, to win a few games to make a run? I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think Hood Schifino is the piece that come March, I think could be the swing piece for this team. He's been good this season. Now he's been out as well. So I don't think we can necessarily judge him for not being great at this point, because I don't know if he's healthy and I don't know when he's going to be fully healthy again. But 37% from the floor this season, only 31% from 3. The question with him was the jumper. He is averaging 4 assists a game in a complimentary role off the ball most of the time next to Xavier Johnson. That sticks out to me. The question mark for me keeps me from buying in, because I want to buy into this Indiana team. Anytime you add as many guys who have played as many minutes in college basketball as Trace has, as Miller Kopp has, as Xavier Johnson has, and you add a couple 5-star freshmen like Hood Schifino and Malik Reneau, I want to buy into that team. That's the type of mix I want from a team on paper.
Right.
What holds me back is that those 3 guys I mentioned, Trace, Miller, and Xavier Johnson, 10 combined years of college basketball before this season. Not once has any of the 3 of them on multiple different teams ever finished higher than 8th in their conference. And that's not all their fault, but it's a big leap to go from where Indiana finished in the Big Ten last year with a lot of the same faces to all of a sudden talking national championship.
Yeah.
Let's start with the conference first, and I
So-
think they're a contender there. But I want to see it come to fruition first, because we're looking in that same state right now, talking about the Boilermakers with the National Player of the Year with a bunch of new faces. And I'd like to see Indiana win that battle before we start.
That'll be
calling
a heck
it.
of a matchup, because there's some,
Will be.
you know, Trace and his ability to drive, and Schifino's a big guard. Braden Smith's not. That'll be a fun game. That'll be a fun matchup.
100%.